This is eCommerce Uncensored. Brought to you by Fast Forward Unlimited. We're coming to you fully loaded and exposed with all the strategies and techniques for growing your e-commerce business.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us again on another episode of eCommerce Uncensored. This is episode number 35, and this is another edition of our e-commerce question and answer. So we have our buddy Paul here again.
Hey.
Thanks, Paul. So Paul's got some more questions for us, and we're just going to see if we can answer them. Hopefully he doesn't stump us.
Yeah, I got some real brain busters here. All right, we'll start with something a little more open-ended. I guess kind of more just your opinion on these things. So we'll go with, what kind of things can be done to obtain the trust of a customer?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Another good one from Paul.
I mean, we're still learning ourselves here. We don't have all the answers for everything. But one thing that I really think, and things change on the internet so quickly. So, today this may be true and tomorrow it may not be. But, testimonials, like social proof, is something that really, I think helps other people get over that hurdle of trusting you because, we're finding on Facebook when we have like a really good offer going out there and people are commenting and saying how great the product is, we find that other people as well want to sort of jump on the bandwagon, so to speak. So I think testimonials are like a big thing, social proof.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've had some products that have been around for a while we've started out with social proof, and that definitely is a benefit to have those already existing testimonials to show on the page. But aside from that, I think if you're just starting out, I think information is a good way to gain someone's trust. So
giving them value,
exactly,
an information piece.
An information piece, yeah, value first proposition, like we always talk about. So sending people information that lets them know that you know what you're talking about as it revolves around your product, I think that's really important too.
Yeah, I heard a story about a guy, I believe it was Mark Cuban. I say a guy, but I forgot who it was. But had this product, this lipstick. I think I mentioned this before on a podcast, but had this lipstick and he couldn't sell it. Like he just couldn't get people to like buy it. And then what he did was he created like this information piece that said like how to kiss better or how to make your kisses taste better or something like that, or how to make your girlfriend or boyfriend love to kiss you, whatever it is. But you give them that nice information piece, some value, and then in that piece, and we spoke about this in our podcast about blog posts, but in that piece you can then sell your product. So I think those are some really good ways, to get people to trust you. But sorry, Kevin.
Go ahead, no.
There's one other thing that we tend to do is, if you can maybe give something away for free, just to get them over that initial problem or that initial trust to give you their credit card. I'm sure Kevin may also be mentioning email. That may be another thing where, follow-up sequences, retarget ads on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of what I was going to say. But another thing is when you can personalize things, like when you can show yourself in, say, a video on Facebook. We talk a lot about doing videos on Facebook and actually presenting yourself on camera, almost looking at your potential audience in the eyes, essentially, through the computer. When you're sending emails, make them personalized. Put a name on the company so the person doesn't feel like they're just, a number, So I think that's a really good way to gain trust as well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, the customers have to see you 7 times. That all comes down to the whole trust thing. And they're being bombarded with, offers all the time. So, yeah, I think if you stick with those things, I think that'll be really, really helpful.
All right, so for the second one, I know you guys have kind of talked about this and touched on it a bunch of times already, but I think it's pretty important. So what are three main types or three of the most important types of content, and how do you market each of them differently?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we start with a blog post.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Facebook ads, we do videos, so
Yeah,
it depends on what the...
Like a blog, one type would be a blog piece that has, again, another piece of valuable information on it, and that we would use Facebook to drive traffic to that piece of content. I think that's a really good place to start, because you don't have to have a video production. You can pretty much just come up with a really valuable piece of information to put out there and see if you get any traction, and then that can also build up. If you get a lot of people interacting with that piece, you could then make a video around it. You can build an audience through those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think people, when they're first starting out, really have a misconception. Like, they think that they don't have, or when they don't have traffic, they think that they can't get it. And traffic's really easy to get. I mean, you can buy it, you can publish. As Kevin said, blog posts. I mean, you can go to Medium, you can go to. There's a lot of different. Tumblr. I mean, there's a lot of different places to post. LinkedIn. I mean, there's a lot of platforms. So, getting traffic's not the issue. Creating a piece of content, like Kevin said, whether in a blog post form, and then spreading it out through the various platforms, that's a really good way.
Yeah,
also,
I think using all the different platforms, like Jay said, multi-purposing your content. So you write a blog post, maybe you do a video on YouTube, you do a podcast like we do. That's a good example. We have a podcast. We also have the blog post where that podcast resides on. Now we're doing a video on YouTube. So you repurpose all the content in several different ways just to get it out there.
Yeah. So blog post would be one piece of content. Video is another piece of content, and again, all this applies whether it's a blog post or a video. You can upload them to the various platforms as well. Also, as Kevin said, audio, which is a podcast. Really the way to think about this, and one thing I want to caution everybody is that all platforms are not created equally for your customers, right? So if I'm selling like a survival type product, I'm not going to go on Pinterest, right? But if I'm selling maybe like a wedding product or something that's catering to women, then Pinterest will be where I go. So I think the question is good, but one thing that you have to really be careful of is that different audiences are going to take to different pieces of content or different kinds of content, and that's more important than what the different types of content are. I think that was a question, right?
Certain audiences might want to read a little bit more. Some people just want to watch video, so that's a good point too.
All right, so we'll end off with sort of a topic that we're currently experiencing. What are some challenges with copywriting within marketing?
Ooh, that's a good one.
The devil.
Copywriting. Well, copywriting is something that I think that we don't do. We should be pursuing more, and we don't. But we've had a really hard lesson with a current client of ours where the demographic was a little bit older, somewhere between it's probably 65 and up.
Yeah.
They told us that their sweet spot is more like 55 and up, but what we're seeing is 65 and up. And it's funny because I think our next podcast is going to be about landing pages, and we're going to talk about copy in that next podcast. But encouraging people to buy and talking about their pain point, it can totally not. It's so underrated, man. We were having we had this article that wasn't converting, and then all of a sudden I worked with one of the general manager of the company, just trying to urge these people to buy, and I'm like, this is not going to work, and then it worked. So really, man, I tell you, I've found a new sort of love for learning how to talk to people.
Yeah, there's so much more to it than you think. I mean, we try to, as marketers, we try to take content that people give us and kind of communicate it in a certain way online. And we're kind of outside of the businesses that are actually running, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. We try to, but it's really good for us. I think it's something that we're learning our own way to keep in touch with our clients really closely because they're in the thick of things. This client that Jason is talking about, she's in the sales of things, so she knows when people call in what they're talking about, what their concerns are, what their problems are. So that was a good example.
Yeah, and the other thing is that your personality can play a big part in it. Like Kevin and I are not real like rah-rah type people, and you know sometimes people need to be rah-rah'd to buy. Yeah. And so we'll go more in depth in the next podcast when we talk about landing pages and copywriting, and we'll talk about some of the things that we learned. But yeah, I mean that's something that I think cannot be overlooked. I mean, that's a really, really important thing. So, and another, by the way, another one of our clients as well. Also, we were sending the traffic to the product page, and it worked for a while, and then it started dying down, and then we created like a custom landing page, and then it boosted back up. But yeah, I mean, but now that's sort of kind of dying too, so we're gonna have to move into another direction. But the point that I'm trying to make is that copywriting really matters. It really does.
Yeah, split testing, different kinds of wording here and there, different headlines. It's really key.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that Paul?
That's it. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys this week.
All right, cool. That was awesome. Good questions. Thanks, Paul. Once again, this is episode number 35 of eCommerce Uncensored. If you guys wouldn't mind, if you guys can jump over to iTunes when you get a chance and give us a rating and review if you guys really are enjoying what you're hearing and you're getting a lot of value out of this. So thank you guys so much, and we'll talk at you next time.
Talk at you.
Yeah, talk at you. Talk
Later.
With you.
See ya.
Take it easy.